Now, in this video, if you don't see the two-faced nature of Jehovah's Witnesses, and particularly this elder body, then I really don't know what will emphasize that to you. Because in this, you see clearly the double standards that they hold, the witness doublespeak that has to exist for them to justify their teachings in their own minds. Now, if you want to know what I mean by that, we'll go through a couple examples of that, as well we have been in all of these little these little director's commentaries, these excerpts, these highlights reels. We begin in the very first part of our video, continuing where we left off in the last, of course, speaking about the ministry and the way it was performed in the first century. And I bring out that the house-to-house ministry literally meant going from home to home, from private home to private home, and the first century Christians would dine, would stay, and would have a good time with these people. They would spend the night or more nights over at a person's house. And that was the way their ministry was conducted. It was not a door-to-door as the way Jehovah's Witnesses conceptualize it, by knocking on the doors and then offering somebody a magazine. They would spend hours debating the teachings of Christ with these householders. That was the way the first century handled their preaching work. Now, of course, I can understand that concessions have to be made, and in this modern age, people don't have the time to spend days upon end talking the Bible over. And so we do have a more expedient form of the ministry. If you want to consider it going on the internet and doing the videos like I do, if you want to lead by example in your daily life, if you want to have 5-minute discussions with people who are around you at the grocery lane, however you want to do the ministry, it's definitely not really feasible to do it as it once was, or at least not to the extent that it once was. But what I would like to point out is that this is the organization that claims to the letter that they perform their ministry work in the exact same way as the first century, and this is patently not true. He even brings up where he says, well, brother, the Bible says that he'll speed up the work in the time of the end. That's all well and good, but again, you can't go around claiming that you do things exactly the same way that the first century Christian congregation did them when you don't do them in the exact same way that the first century Christian congregation did them. And it just highlights the audacity of these men. Who do they think they're talking to? I mean, they must believe on some level or another that they're talking to a witness who's fallen fresh off the turnip truck, as it were. Not somebody who was raised in the organization, not somebody who's done his own research, not somebody who has the intellectual capacity to challenge their teachings, but rather some greenhorn, some noob. And this really shines for when they say, you're proclaiming ideas, some of them are other people's, and some of them are your own. And they say other people's as if it was derogatory, as if speaking from another person's point of view is something to be feared. And that's quite unusual for Jehovah's Witnesses, because this is also the same group, again, the hypocrisy, the doublethink that occurs, this is also the same group that demonizes you for having independent thinking. This is the same group that demonizes you for forming your own opinions of the Bible. And again, at the same time, they're mentioning you're proclaiming other people's ideas in a derogatory fashion while teaching me from the Watchtower's perspective. They are preaching ideas that I dare say none of them came to on their own. None of them would have, my God, the way the Watchtower thinks, very few people would, through the natural course of things, ever come to a Watchtower understanding of things. And so they degrade me for sharing other people's ideas, which, incidentally, they also have no proof of. They have no idea where I've done my research. They assume that I have gotten it from another source. Whether I have or not is irrelevant. But they demonize it. It's just it's frustrating to no end to think, to even conceive of the contrarian thoughts that buzz around in the Jehovah's Witness mind on a daily basis. How you would even come to a logical conclusion under those circumstances is baffling to me, of any kind. A logical assumption of any kind, thinking under those circumstances is simply amazing, flatly amazing that they're able to function at any level at all. They go on, you think, things you've thought about. Now, again, this is the organization that in the previous sentence seemed to be praising me for having some ideas of my own originality, but then they turn around and degrade me for having ideas of my own originality. But the Watchtower says to test the faith as to fitness, of course quoting the Bible, but then they don't want you to test the faith as to fitness. And if you have opinions, then that's a negative thing. Forgive me for being confused, friends. Are you a bit confused at this point? So am I. And so was this committee meeting. I'm so glad that I had recorded it, or else this would have just been an enormous waste of time. It's also amazing to me how many of my videos these people have watched. They bring out quotes time and time again of things that I've said. I mean, they literally know more about my videos than I do, because I don't keep up on these things. I have better things to do. I'm going to college. I'm living a normal existence. But if these brothers have time to watch most, if not all, of my videos and take notes on them and read the comments section, then more power to them. But I think that speaks on some level or another to the corrupt nature of the elders, because if they've seen my videos presented in earnest, I'm not a disingenuous individual, and they walk away with nothing having spoken to them, then they know what the game is, and at this point they're just Watchtower con men. All they're trying to do is convince themselves and hopefully other people that this organization is superior. And so they say, you've had videos where you wear costumes, bringing up that, well, I don't know actually what their point was in bringing that up. I have fun. I have fun doing these videos. I don't do it as a chore. You know, when I come on screen, I speak and act pretty much like myself. That's what I do. And I have fun at it. I don't do it for popularity. I just, gosh, it's almost a form of therapy, but we better kind of wrap this up here pretty soon because, man, time flies by quick. They state that we're in a serious discussion. And I love that they make that statement, because earlier I thought we're just four guys talking. But now we're in a serious discussion. And in a judicial committee. Oh my, well, I guess that means that we're not just four guys talking. And I guess that means that they were trying to instill me with a false sense of security at the outset of that. Weird how that works. Anyway, moving on. They asked me, what kind of comments do you get? And do you enjoy the acclaim you receive on your videos? As if it's a bad thing to receive acclaim. Now, again, I don't do it to receive acclaim. I'm not making these videos so I can gain popularity. I mean, let's face it, I don't know most of you people. I'm glad that you're my viewers. I'm glad that you tune in, but 90% of you, I don't know who you are. So I don't do it to gain the popularity of people. I don't know. But even if I did, what's wrong with desiring acclaim? Is that not inherent with having a title like, I don't know, elder, and people referring to you as the elder body, as the presiding overseer? Are they suggesting that somehow or another they don't enjoy the acclaim that comes with being an overseer and wielding from their own mouths superior authority than that of the average flock? And yet they come after me. Again, perfect example of hypocrisy. And of course, this was interesting as well. They blame me for how people may possibly react to my videos. But showing the Watchtower double standard again, they don't blame people for reacting negatively to Watchtower. The fact that I have these videos out here, and somebody may draw away from the Christ as a result of these videos, which honestly I don't see how that could happen, since again, I do preach from a Christian point of view, but even if that were the case, how they managed to make it my fault is quite the interesting leap of logic when they refuse to make that potential acknowledgement for Watchtower Corporation. Because, according to them, well, if everybody examined the Bible, we'd all be Jehovah's Witnesses, wouldn't we? Fuck off. That's all I have to say to that. The brother says, I follow what Jehovah allows this channel to do. So, I ask if the organization has printed false things, or when they print false things, who will he choose, Jehovah, or will he choose the organization? And he said he chooses the organization. I follow what Jehovah allows this channel to do. And when I asked if Jehovah teaches us false things, he said, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. We never teach false things. What? What are you... Oh. We never teach false things? That's quite the claim, especially when you factor in the multiple end-of-the-world apocalyptic prophecies, along with how the original date of 1914 was concluded to, along with the organ transplant issue, along with the constant, incessant revisions of the generation teaching, of the blood teaching, of all these teachings, and somehow he comes away saying that the organization never teaches anything false? Remember that life is a state of mind. And if you live your life with that kind of mindset, well, the only thing I have to say to that is no wonder Jehovah's Witnesses are such miserable,